In the fall of 1967, something strange crashed into the water off Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia. Since then, UFO investigator Chris Stiles has been building an impressive document trail indicating that the Canadian government knows more about the crash than they're willing to tell.
I believe that this was a device from another intelligent civilization, not of this Earth.
Now, Chris Stiles and Sightings are mounting a new full-scale investigation to scour the ocean floor beneath Shag Harbor in search of UFO debris. Our findings in an upcoming edition of Sightings. For nearly 50 years, UFO researchers have been looking for the smoking gun that will prove once and for all that the government is lying about the incident at Roswell, New Mexico. And now, Sightings correspondent Carla Wohl reports that newly discovered film of a bizarre autopsy is adding fuel to the Roswell fire.
Since January 1995, the hottest news on the World Wide Web of UFO devotees is this photo, allegedly an extraterrestrial from the Roswell crash site being autopsied by the U.S. military. It's the UFO story of the decade.
This is an injury, and that deep wound is consistent with high-temperature burns.
Okay. If this is truly genuine, then it becomes the focus of worldwide recognition that indeed our planet's being visited, that indeed governments have known for 48 years and haven't told us. The world will never be the same again.
Rumors of a Roswell autopsy film go back to 1993. London music promoter Ray Santilli told Bufora, the British UFO Research Association, that he had unearthed a bizarre 16mm movie in a private film vault.
Ray Santilli said, I have got my hands on some material. I know nothing about Roswell, but I'm being told by the man who sold this to me that he was in fact a military cameraman with the United States military back in 1947. And he said that this was the official record, US government record, of an event which occurred there, i.e. a crashed UFO and the recovery of aliens and, of course, that debris.
Kent Jeffrey is the author of the Roswell Declaration, a petition calling for the declassification of all government documents on Roswell. He eagerly anticipated the release of the autopsy film.
When I first heard about the film, I was very hopeful. I thought that we finally had what we'd been looking for in the way of evidence to prove this case. However, in the ensuing months, as I learned more and more facts about the film, I became less and less optimistic.
Now, Santilli says he has had it authenticated. He went to Kodak, and they said, yes, this is film stock from the 1940s.
Kodak did not authenticate the film. What Santilli did was go to Kodak and get clarification on the edge markings. The edge markings on the film are a square and a triangle. That signifies that the film was manufactured in either 1927 or 1947 or 1967. The only thing Kodak did was to verify that that is the case, that those edge markings signify those years.
Rand Molnar, dean of the Brooks Institute of Photography, finds it highly suspicious that Santilli went no further in his attempts to authenticate the film.
If this were a legitimate film with historical value, then I would think he would take every measure possible to try to get this authenticated. Taking it to an expert, to someone here or elsewhere, they could look at the film, analyze it, and then make a determination on whether it's actually legitimate, or if it should be tested further, or if there's something else that can be done with it to try to authenticate what event is transpiring on it, supposedly.
The dissemination of information from Ray Santilli in London is extremely unorthodox. It is extremely unusual for research of any kind to be carried out in this way.
Rather than release the film in its entirety, Santilli selectively leaked small portions of the film at invitation-only screenings. Many in attendance left unconvinced.
I still had a great deal of hope when I went over there to see the film. However, from the first few frames, I realized that this was a hoax, that this was a human body on that table.
You realize what you're saying. You're saying that they used a human body, a dead person, to perpetrate this hoax.
That is not only my opinion, but the opinion of most of the medical people who have seen this film now. And that makes it one of the most despicable hoaxes ever perpetrated.
Can I move the head side to side?
Makeup effects artist Steve Johnson built the aliens for the movie Roswell. He agrees that the autopsy film is a hoax, that it's not flesh and blood you're seeing, but a ripoff of his special effects creations. Could you have done this?
The risk of sounding pompous, yes, I could have done it a lot better. But the main thing is, it never proves once to me that this is a dead body. For instance, when they make incisions, they will begin the incision, then they cut away, or they cut in tighter. From a special effects technician's point of view, they used every trick that I would have asked a director to use had a director come to me and said, I want to do this great autopsy scene.
What are some of the tricks that you think they use specifically?
Human bodies do not bleed after they're dead. The blood coagulates in the veins and settles to the lowest point. If you incise them, they don't bleed. This thing did bleed. And I thought, well, simplest, oldest trick in the book is a blood knife.
Why do you think someone did it?
It would be exciting in a perverse kind of way to be able to fool a lot of people like this. There is a lot of money being changed hands.
In fact, Santilli has profited from the autopsy film. He's reportedly signed six-figure deals with American, French, and Japanese television networks.
To put together a hoax like this would require a tremendous amount of time, effort, and money. Certainly the Roswell incident is one of the better documented UFO incidents, so this will be a likely candidate rather than some obscure thing.
Many ufologists worry that the flap over Santilli's film is obscuring the real story of Roswell. UFO researcher Clifford Stone gave me a tour of the old Roswell military base.
This was known as Hangar 84. In July of 1947, this building right here housed a secret that the United States government didn't want to talk about. As a matter of fact, I would state that they considered that secret so sensitive that it was rated higher than even the hydrogen bomb.
According to Stone, while the autopsy film may be a hoax, the recovery of aliens is not.
Bodies were seen by many people, including some credible military witnesses.
Among those propounding a theory of government cover-up is Walter Haut, the former Air Force lieutenant who was ordered to write the Roswell press release stating the UFO was a weather balloon.
I feel very, very sincerely that it was a cover-up. It was a way of burying something. I guess that's the easiest word to use.
Could Ray Santilli be just another unwitting pawn in a Roswell disinformation campaign?
Disinformation is not a word that a lot of people like. It implies our own government is putting out false stories. Gee, really? Could they do that? Yes. One of the things that you normally do in the intelligence community, all kinds everywhere, if some truth leaks out that you don't want leaked out, you flood the market with garbage. Then there's no way to separate out.
Do you hope that there is another film or some other evidence out there to prove that Roswell did in fact happen?
I certainly do, and I think it's a real possibility. And we are working very hard on trying to find any individuals who might have such evidence or who may have even just participated and now be willing to talk so that this information can be shared with the rest of the world.
Nearly everyone who's studied the Roswell autopsy film is convinced that it's a hoax. But Ray Santilli, the owner of the film, stands by its authenticity.